Okay, we're going to get started. Today is RootsMagic, and RootsMagic is an offline database that will record all your information that no one else can touch. The big difference between RootsMagic and FamilySearch is it's offline and that no one else can touch it. That's the big thing, because that's a big problem with FamilySearch sometimes, right? That it's like a wiki that everyone can change everything on it. And that's a really good thing because everyone can work on it together, but at the same time, it just doesn't.
Today is
Whoops.
RootsMagic.
Hang on.
And RootsMagic is an offline database.
Okay, sorry. Let me unfreeze this real quick. Okay. Only you can edit the information on RootsMagic. So to download RootsMagic, you actually go to rootsmagic.com, and you can go there right now. And then you're going to go to Downloads, Trial Versions, and it'll take you to a list of their products. And you just click on RootsMagic. So I'll wait just a little bit. Rootsmagic.com. There is a handout for this, and those who are watching online, there is a link in the description below that you can open up the handout for this. So you just click on Downloads, Trial Versions, or you can click on RootsMagic right on the screen. There's several ways to get to it. And then you're going to click on the product, RootsMagic. Now you don't have to type in all this information right here. I just clicked on RootsMagic. You don't have to fill in the rest of this information. This is just if you want their newsletter, which is interesting to have their updates, but you don't have to. And you can just click the download button right here. All the computers here in the Family History Center already have RootsMagic, so you don't have to download it here. But if you want to be able to use it at home, you do need to download it. Now, this is the free version that I showed you how to get. The free version of RootsMagic is excellent. Really, you don't need the paid version unless you're getting really into depth with it. Michael and I, we really love RootsMagic. We would suggest getting the paid version if you feel like you need it. The paid version is here, so sometimes we don't quite remember what's free and what's paid, so I apologize about that. It does cost $30 usually, but there's tons of deals going on all the time that make it $20. So that's an option if you want that. The advantage of getting the paid version is that it has a to-go feature that you can get. The to-go feature is where you can actually put RootsMagic on your flash drive, and then you can take your flash drive anywhere to any computer and then upload RootsMagic there and work on it on any computer. Usually you can't work on RootsMagic unless a computer has RootsMagic downloaded on it. But if you have it on your flash drive, you can take it anywhere. You don't have to take your laptop. That's a huge advantage. It's very, very nice. If you have any questions, please interrupt me. Okay, so that's how you download RootsMagic. Now let's actually open up RootsMagic. So on your desktop is the RootsMagic icon. Go ahead and double click that. Gotta go to your desktop. And right when it pops up, there's going to be an update window. You can just go ahead and close that. That's perfectly fine. Now we need to create a new file. So the very top option is create a new file. Go ahead and click that. And you need to name your file. It's pretty typical to name it your name if you're going to start it with you. Sometimes when we do our research, I've got a line that goes into Prussia. So I'll start it with the ancestor that emigrated and maybe start it their name or just name it Prussia. Whatever you want to name it to distinguish what you're doing. I'm just going to name this one Test. Now you need to choose your file location. The easiest place to save it right now is on your desktop. If you want it on your flash drive, you can save it to your flash drive, but to change the location, you need to push file location. Then it'll bring up this select folder window. On the left-hand side are the different places where you can download or save your file. The easiest place to put it is just on your desktop. So if you click that, it will save it there. You can click select folder. And you'll notice up here it says desktop in the file location. That's where you know it is. Now we need to change some of the settings for our file. For example, the date format, the default is 10 Jan 1959. Actually, the standardized way of doing it is to have 10 January spelled out and then the year. This is your choice if you want to do it, but the standardized way that the church asks for you to do it on FamilySearch is it spelled out like this. For us Americans, it's a little weird because we usually put the month first, right? The rest of the world does not do that. The rest of the world does the day, then month, then year. Number to display after name. You can choose what you want for this too, but I would suggest doing the FamilySearch ID, and that will put the person's identification number from FamilySearch onto your RootsMagic file automatically once you sync them. It's really convenient to have the same number on the same places. Now, what you do need, if you are going to be using FamilySearch, you need to make sure that you have LDS support and FamilySearch family tree support checked. You need to make sure those are checked. If you forget to do them, we can always set it up later, just going in through tools, but it's just easier to do it now. Then the last one, display surnames uppercase. I would suggest not doing it. That was an old feature that a lot of people did before, just because that helped distinguish the first name from the last name and the middle names and all that. That's not necessary anymore. They have other ways to identify that, so don't check that. Okay, let's click OK, and let's start opening up our file. Let me come check. You're fine. You're fine. Oh, there we go. Okay, now name it. Okay. Whatever you want to name it, that's fine. It's safe for the desktop, so it's easy to remember what's in it. And then you can change the format. What did you have selected? Do you have those things selected? Yes. Okay. Let's just click into that. There we go.
I did something wrong.
No worries. Okay, so now we have this blank pedigree chart in front of us. Let's fill it out. The very first person is going to be us. So go ahead and just click on that blue square, and it will bring up an add person page. This is where you can type in your information. Given names are your first names and middle names. A lot of people forget that middle names are considered a given name. Now, if you are typing somebody's name in and you don't know their full middle name, you only have their initial, do not put a period there. Punctuation is a no-no now in family history for the names. So only do the R, only do the initial if you know it, don't do a period. Okay, surname is your last name.
That would be our maiden name, right?
Yes. Women, you need to do your maiden name if you're married. Okay, put your gender in. Prefix is for like sir or knight or baron or things like that. Don't put Mr. or Mrs. there. That's not necessary anymore to do that. There's only a few select situations that you would need to do that. Suffix would be like junior, senior, the third. Nickname, if somebody goes by a specific name, that's their nickname but not their given name. Type that in there so that people aren't confused with that. And make sure you have living checked here because you are living. But if you're entering somebody who is deceased, make sure and uncheck that. Okay, birth. Let's put the birth date in. Remember, it's day, month, year. Say, for example, you were born in the 7th of a month. Don't type 07. You would type 7. And then type the whole month out, and then the year. place is going to be from smallest to largest again. So it's going to go city, comma, county, comma, state, comma, country. And United States needs to be spelled out United States. A lot of people used to do abbreviations USA. Abbreviations aren't good in family history. We want to fill in as much information as possible just to make it as not confusing as possible. So let's Rexburg, comma, Madison. Okay, so we don't need to fill out death or burial because we're living. So let's click OK. And once you click OK, it will pop up this edit person page. This will give you all the details on that person that RootsMagic knows you've entered. So for example, it should have your name and then a fact there that says birth, and it should say the date and details. You can click on that. Go ahead and click on birth. And when you look on the right-hand side, it will give you an option where you can change information for the date, for place. You could also enter place details. So for example, you can enter the hospital or the house address where you were born to get more exact details. Because technically place should only be city, county, state. Place details is for more specific where in that city. So you could say Madison Memorial Hospital. Or if somebody was buried and you know exactly which cemetery they were born in, this is where you would put the cemetery name. Okay, then you have 3 other options after this. You'll see these little boxes to the right of it. There's a little thing that looks like a notepad. There's like a certificate and then a camera. Click on the little box underneath the notepad. There's several little boxes. There's 3 of them underneath the notepad. This is where you can add notes about that particular fact. For example, I could write the story of my birth right here, and you can have it available that way. You can click cancel right here. You go ahead and click the box underneath the certificate, and this is where you would add sources. For example, I would add maybe a birth certificate right here that would prove my birth. I could add other things that would prove my birth if I couldn't find something like a birth certificate. Okay, go ahead and close that. Then for photos, go ahead and click the little box underneath photos. And this is where you will add photos for that particular fact. I could add a baby picture right here to show what I look like then. These are different ways that you can prove your facts. So go ahead and cancel that. The next thing that I want to show you is the Add a Fact button. Up top, there's a little green plus, Add a Fact. Click that. This is where you can add a whole bunch of other facts for this person. You can add death, you can add burial, you could add a census fact in here. You could add divorce, cremation, blessing, illness. Now, a lot of people, they'll see baptism and want to click that. Those who are LDS, the baptism on here and the LDS baptism are different. All of the LDS ordinances are on here under LDS. So make sure that you're not clicking something else with that. Also, marriage and sealing to spouse, they are different. If you are married and sealed at the same time, those will be different facts that you need to add, and they will have the same similar information. And you can also design your own fact. For example, if I click that design new fact type, I'll make it an individual fact type. I could make a patriarchal blessing fact that I could add my patriarchal blessing in here, when I got it, other people's as well. Because the church has available that you can request your ancestors' patriarchal blessings. It's really, really nice. And this is where you could save it. Let's click cancel for that. Close out of that. I just wanted to show you how to do that. Okay, click close. And now let's add somebody else. We're going to add our father. So on top of you, the line goes towards another box that says click to add father. Click that. and we're going to add a new person. If you click select existing person, that will select somebody that's already in your RootsMagic file. The only person in there is you right now. So go ahead and click add new person. And you'll type in the information just like before. If they're deceased, make sure to uncheck that living box. It does take a little memory game with this, but if you've got your information, then it does help too. And I'm going to show you a way to where you don't have to use your memory anymore. All you need to do is connect to somebody that's deceased, and then we can connect to FamilySearch and import all the information automatically so that you don't have to worry about typing anything else. Typing is out of date right now. It's old-fashioned. You can just bring the information over really easily. So what I want you to do now is you don't have to enter too much information on these people, but I want you to enter information in until you connect to somebody that is deceased. So for example, I need to go to my great-grandfather to be able to connect to somebody that's deceased so that we can connect to FamilySearch.
Person was removed from Idaho.
It might be because Jefferson County did not. Just click close and check. Okay. Oh, that's fine.
Went in that time.
Okay, we're going to be connecting now. Michael.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to do.
I was talking just keyboard.
I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you need to enter information in until you get to somebody deceased. Let me hurry and add real quick. My great-grandfather. Need to add this way. Okay. You don't have to enter too much information on living right now because you can enter that in later. Another advantage of having RootsMagic versus just using FamilySearch is FamilySearch is not very living friendly. It's harder to enter information in and connect sources to those that are living in your family tree. So that's why I use RootsMagic to store all my information on those that are living. For example, I can add sources to myself, to my parents and grandparents that are living, but I can't do that in FamilySearch. It's really complicated and just not worth it, more often than not. So that's another reason why I'd use FamilySearch. Okay, so I'm going to add my grandfather, great-grandfather. Living. He died 14 February 13. Okay, let's see if this is good enough. I know he was born in Idaho and he was 105 when he died, which would make it 1908. I think he was born in Teton, but I'm not sure. Let's click OK for that, and let's see. Okay, now we're going to try and connect. So you'll notice, so let's close out of that. There are trees next to all these people in your tree. All of them are gray right now. Our goal is to get them to be blue for all of the deceased individuals. So for example, for the deceased person that you entered, click on that little gray tree on their name, and we are going to try to match them to FamilySearch. Oh, look at that. Victor. Hey, Teton, I was right. For the county, at least. Okay, so if you entered in information, it should bring up people that work in your family that are supposed to match to that person. If it says not enough information, you need to go back into that person, enter in more information so it can actually search on Family Tree to try and connect to somebody. So I know this first person is my ancestor right here. I know his middle name was Richard. I knew he was Victor, Teton. This looks like it's a duplicate.
We might have to send it to FamilySearch.
You might have to sign up in FamilySearch when you actually bring this up. Sometimes it asks if you're already, sometimes it won't ask if you're already signed in. Like we use RootsMagic pretty often, so it keeps us signed in. Otherwise, you might need to. Okay, so this is my ancestor. Let's connect to the person that we want to. So you're going to click the box next to the person that you want to match to FamilySearch. And then you can click Match with FamilySearch after you check that box.
The green one box or the empty box?
The empty box. And then click Match with FamilySearch. Now he's matched. So go ahead and click Close, and I want you to go back to your pedigree chart. Now you'll notice the tree on that person is now blue. Instead of being grayed out, is now blue. So if you click on somebody else just to have the blue box off of that, it's a lot easier to see that now that person has a blue tree. That means they are connected to FamilySearch. You'll also notice that on mine, you probably shouldn't have it on yours, there's a little red exclamation point right here. That is saying, hey, you might want to look at this. There's something that's pretty weird or off here. So I'm going to click that, and it gives me problems. It's saying that he was 105 years old when he died. That's a problem according to them. It wasn't a problem for my great-grandfather. He really did die at 105. So I'm going to just say, nope, that's not a problem. It really did happen. Other things that would be brought up for would be like, was born after father died. Well, is that possible? It is. Other things it may bring up are like married before born or something. That's when you know you really have an issue right there. So those are just bringing up potential problems that they're saying, you should probably just look at this again real quick. And then if not, you can just click not a problem and it goes away. Right, like that. Okay. So that's how you connect to FamilySearch. Now, the easiest way to bring people in to this person is to, again, click on that blue tree on that person. So go ahead and click on that blue tree on your person, on the person that's already blue. And now we are going to bring in their parents. On the left-hand side on my screen, you'll see this is the person in my RootsMagic file. The person on the right is a FamilySearch person. There's not very much information on my side, is there? I can bring all this information over without having to type anything. So for example, the name on my side is Hugh Barnes. The name on this side is Hugh Richard Barnes. I want that name. I know that is the correct name. So I can click on that little empty box next to his name, and it will bring it over directly. I'm going to replace Hugh Barnes with Hugh Richard Barnes. Click OK. And now look, it's green. It matches perfectly. It is Hugh Richard Barnes now. Also, his birth. I only have 1908 Idaho, whereas this has a lot more complete information with the date and the place. I'm going to click that box and bring it over. I'm going to replace. Click OK, And now it's green. It replaced it in my RootsMagic file. No need to type anything. Now, say that my death information here was more correct than the family search information. It's not, so I'm not going to do anything for reals. But pretend that I actually had correct information in mind, whereas the family search only said Utah. I could click the box next to this information, and I can replace it in family search. I don't need to go to family search directly. I can do it right from RootsMagic to fix it in family search. So if I click replace, it will replace it. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to click cancel, but that's how you do it. Now let's bring over his family. We don't have parents yet for this person, but if you scroll down, you'll see father and mother. And if you click on the gray tree, you can bring them over. So I'm going to click on the gray tree next to father, and I'm going to add to RootsMagic. Click OK. Wait 2 seconds, and then it will bring him over. Now look, he's over on this side with my great-grandfather. Now let's bring over his mother as well. So go ahead and do that for his parents. We're going to bring his mother over. Add as a wife of Hugh Barnes, his father, not to be mistaken for the son Hugh Brown Barnes. That would be bad. Click OK. And now his parents are in here. It's green over here with his parents, just like over here. I could add children and spouse here as well. You can do that later. That's perfectly fine. But now I want you to click close so that you can see how it actually looks on your pedigree chart now. Once you click close, it'll automatically put them on your pedigree chart there for you.
Do you have to click here?
You don't have to click that. That's just saying what it's going to default to. Yep.
It's
It is. It is. Sometimes RootsMagic is slow, especially these computers when they're updated.
must have set up one computer.
Okay, you'll also notice when it's brought in these parents that it already has their PID number here. That is the number on FamilySearch that they are connected to. So you don't have to worry about figuring out which person it actually is. The number is just right there. Now you can do this with them as well. You can click on their tree, the parents' tree, and bring in their parents and children and siblings, and you can keep doing that. Now we can completely bring in all the information from FamilySearch really easily too. And let me show you how to do that. So up top, there's a little tree. It's the FamilySearch icon. Go ahead and click that. And then you need to log in if you probably already logged in from being connected with FamilySearch. Now you need to click import. And you can import information here. So I'm actually going to do something real quick. Sorry. I'm going to bring in this PID number from Hugh Barnes right here. So I'm going to copy and paste this PID number. Can I not select it from here? I'm going to have to write it down. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. So I'm going to import information from FamilySearch without having to click, click, click. I'm just going to automatically have it set to bring in 2 generations. So I'm going to, again, click on that FamilySearch icon that you already are in. And I'm going to click import. And I'm going to start it with somebody else, not me. I'm going to start it with a FamilySearch person with the ID. So I'm going to type in this ID number up here and have it start with him. So we will import Hugh Barnes's 2 generations of ancestors. It doesn't matter. Capitalization and the dashes don't matter. And I'm going to select it just to be 2 generations of ancestors. The more you have in here, the longer it will take. For example, I know some people who put 999 in there just so they can get everybody that's in their family history. It takes a couple days for it to import over, so just be prepared for that. So I'm just going to do 2, and I'm going to click import. It'll probably take 30 seconds to a minute at most to do 2 generations. And it's telling you how many individual people and how many specific families there are as well that it's importing. So you can notice it's your file's getting pretty large already with just 2 generations right there. Two generations is a lot more than I thought for 2 generations.
Make sure they're aware that you can use this to just not type any information.
Okay, I'm going to click cancel just because I just want to stop it real quick. You can have it keep going. That's perfectly fine. It does take a minute for it to cancel. Then, once it actually imports all the information, it will have all the 2 generations of ancestors for the ancestor that you selected. Come on. Now, while we're waiting for this, one thing also that you can use this import for, if you start on a blank pedigree chart with nobody in it, like how we did at the beginning of this class, you can just sign in on this and import all your generations right then and there. You don't even have to type your own information in. It will start with you because you sign in with your family search information right there. So you don't even need to enter anybody in or connect to anybody that way. I just wanted to show you how to actually enter information in first off. Oh, it looks like RootsMagic froze. Wonderful. Okay. I should have just selected 1 generation, huh? Michael, technical help here. And one good thing about RootsMagic is it automatically saves. So even though we're having to like force close RootsMagic right now, it will automatically be saved. No worries, it's not lost.
Just had to ask.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to open up the other one again, just so we can keep going with it. Okay. Now, if I click on that red arrow, it will show all the ancestors that just got imported. That red arrow will bring that right over. And now I have all their information in there. It's really convenient and simple. That's probably the best way to enter in as people. One way to keep things more accurate, though, is just to import a couple generations to start off with and then individually add people over, because sometimes there's mistakes on FamilySearch, right? So we want to probably add people over individually, double check their information, and then move on and keep going from generation to generation. I did want to show the different views on this. So you have Pedigree View right here. There's a Family View. Go ahead and click on Family, and it will go to the family view of the person that's in blue that you have on your pedigree. So that's a lot of people right there in mine. Look at that, 8 kids right there. It'll show their children and then the parents, along with the spouse's parents. If you click on Descendants, go ahead and click on Descendants. It will show you all the descendants of the individual that you had selected from generation to generation. I've got 5 different generations available right here, all the way to my grandma. Now, if you come up here and make it 7, it will do even more. It'll go straight back down to me. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. If you don't have very many people in your file, it won't show that many. That's perfectly fine. Just once you actually get more information in there. If you click on the people view, go ahead and do that. It will give you a list of all the individuals in your file. Right now, probably not too many because you haven't imported so much from FamilySearch. The web search will actually allow you to research different websites while in RootsMagic, so you don't have to keep going from program to program, from window to window. The timeline will give you a fun outline of that individual for what the facts that you have for that person. So I'm going to go back to my people one and go to somebody that was a little older and go back to timeline. And look at that. It has all the different facts that have happened in their life. So for example, it'll have mother's death. It'll have siblings' deaths. It will have births of his children in here along his timeline to show how old when those things happen. It's really, really fun and convenient to see. Then there are, for adding more, for figuring out what else to do with RootsMagic, I will be, this is just the basic class with it, so I'm just teaching the very basics of how to enter information in and things like this. But there's a lot else you can do. I will be making more classes on web genealogists, but also if you go to rootsmagic.com and you go to Learn, and this is on the handout, just so you know, underneath webinars, you could go to Learn and then Webinars. It will give you a list of all their classes, the people who made RootsMagic teaching how to use RootsMagic. Now, a lot of these are kind of old. Some of these are old. Like number 1 was made 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. It's been updated a lot since then. So you probably want to look for different ways, for different updates. I will be doing classes like these just with a complete updated version, so you don't have to worry about that at all. But that is an option. Also, one other fun thing with RootsMagic, there's an app for it that you can use on your Android device, your iPhone, your iPad, and it's RootsMagic, but the way to connect it is through Dropbox, and so that gets a little complicated there, and I'll make a video for that, how to do it specifically, because that would take too much time to do it, but it is a fun feature to have. You guys don't have very many questions. Do you have any questions so far that I can go back on or help clarify?
Really looking.
Just got to play around with it, and a lot will come up with that. You'll notice if I click X right here, if I try and close, it will ask me if I want to where to back up this database. I usually don't back up very often until I've made a lot of significant changes. Backups are just a zip file of this, and it's not really that necessary. I would say it's easier just to copy the file and save it someplace else, like your flash drive. You can even email it to yourself so it's available there. It's just always good to have one type of backup for it, just in case you lose this file or it becomes corrupted. Now, I wanted to show you one other thing. This was my new file I just made, but I wanted to show you a file that had a whole bunch of sources on it. This is my husband's file right here for Finland, for his Finland research. You'll notice it's color-coded, which is pretty fun, but also there are a whole bunch of facts. So if I double click on somebody, you'll notice there's facts here, but then there's sources. There's these little green check marks. That means there is a fact or something in that box for that fact. So for example, the birth fact, I'm going to click on underneath this source. I'm going to click that check mark, and it will bring up the fact, the source that I have for that fact. For example, here is a household census proving that he was born in this year. If I click on the image underneath it, it will show me the actual image that he found online that will prove his name right there in the fact, in the source. And you can see that with everybody else as well. Leonard should have a, oh, not quite. Okay. You also notice that there's a portrait form up here. How do you get that up there? You just click on him, and it's under his name with the portrait right there. And that's where you can have that for him as well. But there's a whole bunch of fun things you can do with RootsMagic. You can also make books. You can make charts. You can make a website. Michael has made a website for this line that enables everyone to be able to see it. Let's actually show you what it looks like. So, Michael, what's the website? Oops. My.rootsmagic. /hide_m. And this is the website. RootsMagic will do this for you. It will save it to their source, to their website, and you choose what you want available on this. He chose this picture to be the head of the website. This is actually a picture of where all of his ancestors went for church in Finland. A pretty neat thing. This is where like they were all baptized, where they went to church maybe once a year, depending on what the rules and regulations were. You can click on the name index. There's a pedigree chart here. Nobody can edit anything in this, but they can see it and you can share it with them. That's the awesome thing about this. Wow, look at that. Keeps going back and back. 1693. Now, contact, he also added information here so that other people could contact him. He did this so that he could share this with his family members because they're interested in family history, and not everybody has RootsMagic, right? So if he just created a quick website so that others could see and be interested in what's actually going on in his family.
And that side of the family is not members, so they didn't want to get on FamilySearch, so I used this as an alternate way for them to share family history with me.
If you didn't hear that, he said that this side of the family are not members of the LDS Church, and so they don't necessarily want to get on FamilySearch. So this is a great way to share that family history with them. Now, to make a chart, I'm just going to briefly show you so you can see what the possibilities are. You can click on reports up here, and you can print a report. Then you're going to select between all these different types of reports. There's a wall chart, there's a to-do list, there's web tags, there's scrapbook. If you enter a lot of pictures in this, you can do scrapbooks. You could do narratives, marriage lists, charts. There's a pedigree chart right here, a photo chart. I'm going to hurry and do the pedigree chart just so you can see. Create report. And you select who you want it to start with. It will automatically start with the person that's in blue. You can choose if you want color coding to still be in there, how many generations you want on this page. I'm just going to keep the default, and I'm going to click Generate Report. And wow, look at that. It did a pedigree chart for me just like that. And that would be fun, so you could print it out and have it in a book. Or there's other charts that you can print out and frame as well. Yep, it keeps the colors if you want to keep the colors. You can check mark a box if you don't want to have the colors in there. Let's see. Let's close this. Wall charts. Let's do timeline chart. I haven't seen this one before. Oh, look at that. Wow, that's really interesting to see all that. And that's doing all the people at once. Ooh,
It's a big chart.
that is. It's a very big chart. So, for example, in 1790, there were quite a few people living. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if you keep going down, there's more and more and more. That would be fun to print and hang up on a wall. That would be fun. But those are some different things that you can do with RootsMagic. Any other specific questions? What can I help you on? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even talk about temple ordinances at all. Or what? Or the webhits. Yeah. Whoops. Okay. So you'll notice on here that there's either blue check marks or green arrows. It will have those for people that are connected to FamilySearch. And again, there's a blue tree to show that they're connected to FamilySearch. The blue check mark means that that person's work is done for LDS ordinances. So I'm going to click that. And it will bring this up. It will load it up. Sometimes it does take a minute. Is this person not connected? There we go. It does just take a minute. Okay, you'll notice all of the work's done. Blue check marks all the way down. Then, oh yeah, let's bring them over. So to bring them over, you can actually bring over all this information at once into your file. So I'm going to check mark these, and I'm going to copy over to RootsMagic. Click that, and it brings it over automatically for me. And it will be in those facts now for this person. So if I close out of this, and I double click on him, boom, they're all there automatically on that person's page. The green arrows mean that there's work to be done for that person. So I'm going to click this. And again, it takes a minute to load. There is an ordinance that still needs to be done for this person, the sealing to parents. And it's ready, which means it has not been reserved. You can reserve it right here through FamilySearch. So if you click that through RootsMagic to FamilySearch, if I check mark that, I can reserve selected ordinances, and then it will be saved to my account automatically. You can do everything through RootsMagic. The little light bulbs, those are hints. You know how on Ancestry and FamilySearch, they have record hints? Ancestry has a little green leaf that shakes when you got a hint for that person. FamilySearch just has a record hint from the side. This light bulb is saying that RootsMagic has searched websites out there and believe that there are records matching your person. So I'm going to click on this light bulb, and it's bringing up FamilySearch right here, saying there's a 1920 census that they think matches this person. They also think there's a 1940 census. They also think there's county marriages records that will match this person. So if I click this, I can actually go to them. So let's see. Yep, it'll open up a tab for me in the internet and load it up. And he's already signed in. Otherwise, you would probably need to sign in. And takes a minute. And it will bring up the hints for this individual. And there's a 1920 census right here. You can click on this, you can review and attach, and look at it right in the website right there. And it's brought up in RootsMagic. You didn't have to do any typing at all. You just had to click some buttons, decide if that's what matches to them, and then match it right then and there. Questions?
How do you find a source? Like
In RootsMagic?
You saved one to it. How do you find it?
Once it's saved.
Yeah.
Once it's saved. So for example, I found that source. Oh, wrong. This will save it in RootsMagic or in FamilySearch. I apologize. This will save it in FamilySearch. To actually add a source into RootsMagic, you're going to double click on that person, and then for whatever fact it matches. So for example, a census, I can add a fact. I can make a census fact, select, and then I can just click here under the certificate. That's the sources section. And I can add a new source. And this, it gives you a whole list of the different sources that are out there. Now, for example, I'm going to choose a census source. And that was a 1941, I believe, or was it 1920? 1920. So I'm going to find that one. There's also different ways. I'm going to be showing easier ways to source it later on. It does get a little complicated, but I will show you easy ways to do it. But this is where you can put it. If you don't want to necessarily actually have the source here, you can just write the fact here, and you can also download the image and put the image here as well, and that would act as a source to prove that that actually did happen for that individual.
How do you put an image in?
To actually put an image in, you're going to click on this square underneath the camera, and then you're going to click Add Media or Add from Gallery. It depends on if you already have it uploaded. What you need to do is already have the image. So I'm going to go back to FamilySearch, and I'm going to look at the image right here. I can save this image, save image as. I right-click the image, save image as, and I can save it to my computer, and then from there, I can put it on RootsMagic. So I'm going to do this real quick, for example. We're going to do, if it'll be quick for us, click on desktop, save it there. I'm going to name it 1920. Save. Now it's saved to my desktop. Oh, you have your icons turned off, huh? And now I'm going to add new media. And I'm going to choose, I know where it is. I'm going to look at my desktop, and it's right here where I saved it to my desktop. And I click open. And once it loads, while it's loading, I'm going to give it a caption. I'm just going to say 1920 census. It's still loading up with that red box. But there's an image right there. And I'm going to click OK. And now you'll notice there's a green check mark right there. That lets you know that there is something there that's proving that fact. So if I go back there and click on that, it will show that the census is there. I could double click it, bring it up. It's still loading though. So
Is it important to put sources in RootsMagic? Or just
it depends on how you want to use RootsMagic. We have lots of sources in RootsMagic because we control it. Nobody else can touch our file. FamilySearch, people can delete sources on there, which can be really bad or really good, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, this source doesn't actually match this person. It's supposed to be for this person instead. And so they can help fix it, but they can also delete things that are supposed to be there. And so we do like using RootsMagic and having sources on it, and you can actually put it on FamilySearch. So let me show you. I have this census right here. I'm going to give information real quick, 1920. I click close. I'm going to actually go to FamilySearch now for this person. Share data. And then on the left hand, okay, it's not actually matched to FamilySearch yet. That's right. I have to match them real quick. Okay, so now I'm going to go back there. And once it loads up, again, the left-hand person is my person in RootsMagic. The right-hand person is in FamilySearch. You'll notice I have this census fact right here for 1920. On the right-hand side, there's nothing about a census right here. So I can bring that over. I can click that and bring it over.
Is there a residence factor 1920?
No.
Because that's the actual fact.
Now, RootsMagic and FamilySearch do have little tiffs with each other currently about sources. If they would agree, it would be really easy to bring sources over from RootsMagic into FamilySearch automatically. But they haven't agreed on a way to do it yet. So it's not available yet, which is really unfortunate because I'm just waiting for that day and I'm going to use RootsMagic exclusively. But as of right now, it's easier to do sources in FamilySearch. I will admit that. It's very nice to have your own copy of the source in RootsMagic, but the easiest way to do it is in FamilySearch right now until they agree on a way to synchronize the sources between RootsMagic and FamilySearch.
Well, I've transferred sources from FamilySearch to RootsMagic.
Yeah.
But I've never been able to find them or see them. So I just go to look under the source.
Yeah, so you'll click on the blue tree on that person. And everything that's on your person will be on the left-hand side. Whoops. There we go. And everything on FamilySearch will be on the right-hand side. So if I want to bring sources over that are on this side, all I need to do is click on the box, and it will bring it over. And so I'm going to click Add to RootsMagic. Okay. It's brought it over. And now if I get out of this, how do I see that information again? I'm just going to double click on that person. And now, look, it's residence right here. That's the exact fact that I just barely brought over. It's not going to be under here with the check marks because that's only in RootsMagic until they agree on a way between FamilySearch to actually bring information over. Someday, I believe. Web search, this is where you can actually search for information. So for example, when I clicked on web search, I was already clicked on Leonard here, and it brought over his information right here. He was born in 1937, died in 1999. And the default is search FamilySearch. You can have it search other websites as well. So I'm going to click this drop down arrow, and you can search Find a Grave, Find My Past, My Heritage, Roots Web, all these different places. And you can search in RootsMagic. So you don't have to worry about going back and forth from different windows and pages. And look at that. It started to find records for him already. Oh, that's going to be interesting. That'd be a fun fact to learn. Any other questions? There is a lot with RootsMagic. That's why I just wanted to cover the basics, and then we can go more in detail later on. There are books here at the Family History Center. There's a RootsMagic 7 book there that will go into detail about everything you can do with RootsMagic. There's also a RootsMagic for PAF users. That is free on rootsmagic.org, or we have a printed copy here. Sorry, .com. I said .org. And it's going to be rootsmagic.com/PAF. That is how you can get that free website, that free booklet. It will help you transitioning from PAF to RootsMagic, and it's really helpful. We already have a copy here for you if you want it as well. Any other questions before we end? Okay, thank you so much. And we'll explore RootsMagic more in detail later.